Hello. So I wanted to make an update about the Good Mythical Morning video that I posted previously. In a previous video, I talked about how I got an email about Good Mythical Morning closing down the closed captioning team that they have, which, by the way, was 100% voluntary. Nobody was paying for captions, so to anybody that said it was possibly a money issue, it wasn't, because they weren't paying anything. So there was a message that said that they were closing down a captioning team. No other information. Nobody said whether or not they would be doing something different with the show. They said that they were going to focus on making the show better, but they didn't say anything about changing the method about closed captioning, rather than just saying we're shutting down the captioning team. So that brought up the concern that I had, and that's why I also talked about the fact that this has happened with other YouTubers, especially big YouTubers. I've noticed a pattern more with them than anybody else, but who knows? I don't think the lighting's gonna be too great in this video, but whatever. I don't care. I don't care for this one right now. So I made the video because despite all the attempts I and 2 or 3 other closed captioning team members made to try to find out what was going on, or when we knew what was going on, and then try to fix it and get some information out of it, there were no responses. But I did get an email in my inbox not too long ago, and, well, I have some information. So to sum it all up, the very first paragraph is telling me that while they're closing down the Amara team, they're not ending closed captioning as a whole on Good Mythical Morning. Also, before I go on further, this is not Rhett and Link sending the emails to me, myself. In fact, apparently they don't actually know anything that's going on. So apparently there's some talk about how it was becoming more difficult for volunteers to be working on the captions, and that they were getting too busy for it. Now there's 2 different sides to this story from what I've been told by members themselves and this. So that's a problem that they can work out together. But long story short, they said that coming season 11, they were going to start using Rev, the closed captioning service that I had always recommended to caption the videos, which is something that I have always recommended to big channels like Good Mythical Morning, Philip DeFranco Show, quite a few, big YouTubers that have made companies out of them that rely on viewers who are not trained in this to do that. So like Markiplier and Jack Septic Guy, Felix, PewDiePie, or whatever. So those big channels were or are relying on viewers, which I've considered that an option. Whenever I talk about closed captioning, I say community contribution is an option. But I feel like if you have made a big company out of yourself, it's better to use a professional service rather than your viewers. It's like it's like continuing that standard that you have, because honestly, when you use community contribution, they often don't do it right versus what a professional company would do. But anyway, now while I am very happy to know that they are considering using Rev and that their new plan is to go with Rev, I am a person that will wait to see it until I 100% believe it. And that is because I've experienced this already with other people, that they say they're gonna do this, but then they don't actually go through with it. So I'm not gonna say that they're not gonna go through with it. This is the update. As it turns out, even though it sounded like captioning was not going to happen anymore, apparently it is just a different method. Which, while I was reading the information, the new information I was given, I was thinking, 1, that's awesome, and 2, why wasn't this mentioned before? So when you made the announcement to the team that you weren't going to continue with it, why wasn't it mentioned from the get-go exactly why? Which is, apparently we're going to change the method and use a captioning service so that we're holding the same standard, because this brand is big, so let's have an actual service do the job, because that's the job. So I'm holding out. I have hopes. I have my fingers crossed, but I will still remain that person that will wait to see it until I 100% believe it. Everybody, we can keep our eyes out for season 11, and I will keep my eye out for that, and if I see that it's not really working out, I will talk about it again, because I'm getting lights, camera, caption campaign rolling again. I am. Now, one thing I want to say real quick about Rev is, while I have promoted them a lot in the past, I've always recommended them in the past because they are quick. Usually they are quick. They usually give you your stuff within 24 hours or less. And they're cheap at $1 a minute as long as you're using English. If you're translating it into a different language, it's much more expensive. But I've noticed, now usually iMedia captions my videos, but sometimes I use Rev if I need a video like now or in 24 hours, like if I make a last minute kind of video like this that is off my normal schedule because Australian time zones and stuff, we're at completely different times and it's very difficult for iMedia to get me my videos when I need them. So that's when I go to Rev and I pay for it. You know, I've noticed the last few orders that I placed with Rev, most of them I've had to give less than 3 stars to because lots of spelling mistakes, lots of grammatical errors, words were completely like nonsensical or had nothing to do with what I said, weren't what I said, so it's been very strange. Like before quality was up here and now they're kind of like going down. I can think of a few big YouTubers who use Rev. Lily Singh, Hannah Witten, Megan McKay, I think. Now that Good Mythical Morning is apparently using the service, just like I recommended, if you're using community contribution, you need to look over Rev's contribution as well because chances are it's not going to be 100% perfect all the time. So if you're saying a word that is not the usual in the English language like bae, like B-A-E, chances are they're probably going to get it wrong. I've seen that happen in Lily Singh's video. It's just something that you need to look over. They've done the same with the grassy and spelled it with a Y instead of an I. But to some people would not be a big deal, but if you're going to use captioning, you gotta get it correct as possible. And there's the update. We'll see what happens because this is apparently a situation that is separate from Rhett and Lane themselves, which if I ever see them in person, I would love to bring it up to them in person. So thank you for all the comments in the previous video. I definitely wanted that video to talk about my concerns about what was happening. I did not want it to be like, how dare you do this, which I know I didn't come across like that and none of you thought so, but I just wanted to like make sure that was clear again because some of the comments were like, boycott! I'm like, whoa, calm down. We don't have all the information yet. That's why I'm making this video, to try to get all the information. I'm saying this half jokingly and half seriously. Sometimes you gotta make a video and make it well known to get any actual information after you try to get the information yourself and it just didn't work. So we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful. If you want to follow me on all of my social media, links to that will be down below. If you want to help support my content on Patreon, link will also be down below as well as this end card. Or if you wish, you can leave a one-time tip on coffee, link down below. I upload every Monday and Thursday unless otherwise stated, and I will see you later.